Hi, team. Welcome to the Escape Podcast for Star Wars The Old Republic. This week, we're going to talk about tips for getting the most out of 12x XP. We'll also cover the latest SWTOR news and the fun stuff going on in our guild, Alea Iacta. As usual, we have an astromech standing by to record and broadcast this show. Hey, EPC90, how is it going? What does 12x XP stand for? Oh, it's something like one astromech goes to the extra excellent pod. Yeah, that's you, bud, so get in the pod. Hi, Seema. How's it going, and what have you been up to?
I don't think I've ever seen you spell the word two with the number two.
Well,
It's a revelation.
you gotta convince him to go in the pod
Oh,
somehow.
well, I've been up to, normal stuff. In SWTOR, I played through the Zio story on the pub side, and it's very similar. I mean, there's a few little, they just changed, a word here and there where they had to. But I got like more out of it the second time through because it's actually pretty deep. And I liked how Lana and Theron they continue to have these sort of 3D personalities where yes, Lana is this capable Sith warrior, really. I mean, she's a master of the Force, but she's also kind of unsure of her capabilities, and she, you know, um, wonders if she's the right person for the job she's in, and she feels spread in too many directions, and like maybe she won't be able to handle it. And then Theron comes along, and he he's second guessing his decisions, saying he made a mistake, bringing his own personal Jedi army to Ziost, and they accomplish all this through basically just dialogue. There's no narration really. There's no narrator in the background saying, you know, and Lana feels unsure of herself. I mean, it's just you read that, you get that from what she says,
Yeah,
and there are some pretty like um, detailed and expressive facial expressions too that help. But it's mostly all from the dialogue, so that's pretty impressive. And I still find Agent Kovac to be the most interesting. He's the guy who's like working for Lana, you think, and then you think he's working for Theron, and but on top of all that, even though the people around him don't know what he's really up to, they don't know his other side. He still is this force for good because he wants to beat the Emperor and save the galaxy. So he's a hero, and in the situation he's been dealt, he's trying to do good, which is like one of my favorite premises. So
yeah,
I want to hear more about what happens to him, or yeah, what he does with it.
yeah. It'd be good if he sticks around. He's like, yeah, he's again. You're right. A complex character.
Yeah,
He's got some character. Well, and this is what BioWare said. They write stories, and this is a story, so it's good. So that's a positive.
um,
Except it's not done.
this
But besides that,
yeah, yeah, it's clearly not done. And I wonder how the rest of it's going to be rolled out. I mean, I kind of wish that they would do it maybe. I mean, obviously they're not going to, but like little bits of it every week for like 6 weeks.
right?
But I think we have everything we're going to have for until the next big chunk. But
Probably. Yeah, this was the rise of the Emperor segment, and next is gonna be the a good job, guys. You wrapped it all up of the Emperor
yeah,
segment.
yeah. I like how the Emperor decided to leave me alive. So
Yeah, that was
that's good.
useful. That was helpful.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Right. Thanks, Imp. Um, on Ops, we have news. Our team is in LOL is in a rebuilding stage right now because we lost our raid leader and one tank. So we're filling out our roster now.
I'm calling it a
Um,
sabbatical,
yeah.
but he's
It
taking some
might be
time
just
off.
that time when we get to do some things we've been talking about, like go back and trounce Corruptor Zero on hard mode, or maybe do like Nightmare, TFB, and Scum and Villainy, etc. And I would not mind a few shots at Brontes' mount either,
Right,
the weird, creepy mount.
right.
So whatever happens, we will keep you guys updated on the ongoing ins and outs of our ops team. But what we actually did this week was Thursday night we did Ravagers, and then we went and did the boss on Ziost, which, looking back on that, that was pretty fun. We did it in story mode, and I'm talking about the instance boss,
The
and
Colossus, right?
yeah, Colossus. So that was a pretty full night because we didn't know when we went to it whether it was going to be like a Bulu type thing that would take us a few weeks to get, and it wasn't. We got him down that night. And then on Sunday, somebody realized that Sunday was Mother's Day and had the forethought to cancel ops for that night because, yeah, no way ops would have really happened on Sunday night, it being Mother's Day, because everyone had plans. So that was how our Sunday ops went.
Yeah.
And let's see, what else? Oh yeah, MFN, our mandatory fun night on Tuesday. We went into Nightmare EC again because we want to do it because there's people that still want the tank mount, and I would like for everyone to get it that wants it. Um, and then we went and did the Zyos Worldbreaker, which is the world boss on Ziost. And I don't know if it's supposed did we go, I mean, we had 11 people. Did we do it on 16 man, or is there it's just
It's
open,
just
whatever number you bring, that's
right.
what you can,
It's just
yeah,
a world boss,
because it's
so
not
you can do it.
instanced, right? So we had 11 people on that worked fine.
Right.
And we also had some people who hadn't completed the story, and we were able to summon them too, in case
Yes.
you have anyone in your guild that's in that boat. You can just summon them with the flagship summon.
Right. That worked, and that was useful.
Yeah. So I feel very accomplished that we did the world boss and the instanced boss last week. We're like Ziost heroes now.
Did you do them on the same character? You might have. I did not. I did it on 2 different characters.
I did do them on the same character because I'm boring that way.
Well, no, that's good. Then you completed the weekly, right? What did you get? You get for something for it? Well, comms if nothing
I
else.
don't know. Probably
Ultimate
comms that I just clicked on and didn't notice. I mean, I've had 400 elite comms for like
I know.
3 months. But
Ultimate, get some ultimate comms.
But yeah, I mean, I say boring because, when we're down a tank or down a DPS, I'm not really the person that can say, "Oh, I'll fill in." I'm just like, do, I can heal.
Well, you haven't been.
That's bollock.
But you could. 12x XP, you get in that tank.
Oh, great. Now I feel guilty.
Now you
I know. I should break my little shadow.
That would be great.
I was thinking about deleting her, but I should just level her.
Yeah, absolutely.
But yeah, that was pretty much how my week went. How about you, Max?
Let's see. So a lot of the same things. I did throw in a little bit of PvP on my Sork, as usual. Mandatory Fun Night was fun. I would keep going back to Nightmare Explosive Conflict. I did... Well, I don't know how many times we've done it now. We've done it a bunch of times. I did get the tank mount on one of my characters, and then I felt guilty because I'm sort of running it, and I've been passing on everything. But I would like everybody to get some good stuff, and then I want to roll need on the decorations. Because there's the tank decoration, which is fine, which is pretty cool, but there's the defense cannon decoration off of Kefis that is awesome. It's a centerpiece decoration. It's a big, huge aerial defense cannon. So I want one of those. So we'll keep running it so everybody can get fun stuff. And who couldn't use more mining carts? They are awesome. If only they were animated and they would like do circles around your stronghold. That would be great.
And kill you.
And kill you when they hit you.
Yeah.
You could run away from them the whole time. We also did, we did that. We did the World Breaker, you're right, on Mandatory Fun Night, and that was fun and easy. I had done it with a pickup group as soon as the patch dropped on Tuesday, and learned the mechanics. The pug group had like 20 people or 20, maybe to cap 24 people in it, and wiped because you have to figure out what the mechanic is, and not everybody knew what the mechanic is. And if you get out of sync on the ads, then you get screwed up and you're never going to get it down. So then they figured it out, and then I was able to explain it to the group, or a couple people were able to
Right.
explain it to the group. So we were able to get it just one shot it and not have much
Yeah,
problem.
we had, I mean, we had that advantage of you telling us and yeah,
I
of
think I
already
tanked it
knowing.
the two. So I pulled out my tank a couple times. I've been pulling out my tank for mandatory fun night because it's easier content, so not too much pressure.
Put that thing away.
But I'm pulling out my. I'm at that. So that power tech is pretty fun. I like it as a tank. It is good. I keep forgetting. I don't play it often enough though, and I keep forgetting half my abilities. Like I keep forgetting Storm. I keep just like doop doop derp running in every time. I'm like, oh wait, I can like leap in to battle. So I gotta I gotta play it more often. I finished gearing up my sniper. I wanted one more DPS. I wanted an alt that's pure DPS on the Imperial side. So that's what I have on the stream right now is my sniper, and I finished gearing it out using Ziost, which has worked out really well. The 190 mods are better. They're only slightly better, but they're better than the 186 gear that you get with basic comms. And you get almost a full set, and then just by taking your character through the couple phases of Ziost, you get enough tokens to even fill in a little bit more. And then I had crafting able to go to just make myself the 186 relics, implant, and earpiece. So I got those all set. The only thing I had to buy was a barrel, and I could get a 186 barrel pretty cheap, but if I'm going to use it for DPS, I bought a 192 barrel. So, and that was not cheap. That was like 2 million credits on Jedi Covenant. But now he is set and able to fill in once in a while on other groups and do other things with it when I need an extra DPS and I don't want to lock my mercenary out, which is nice. And I put some levels, some 12x XP levels on my commando. I had to spend some time getting it ready and clearing out inventory and making sure I had moddable gear and making sure I was able and ready to take advantage of 12x XP, and that's what we're going to talk about today even more, which will be interesting. And another thing I actually did it just the night before last week's podcast, but it just came out this past week, is the Galactic Gamers Coalition podcast. And that was me and Tio and Brian and Chuck, and it was 6 of the podcasters, and it was hosted by Brian and Chuck this time around, but that's going to rotate hosts. I think Tio and the Utini cast is going to host it next time. But that was fun to catch up with all those guys and talk about the game in general, go through a couple topics. We all picked some topics and went round robin on our thoughts on current state of the game and a couple different things. And it's a great community, and it's great podcasters, and everybody supports each other, and I really like that. It was sad news when Rode announced the end of ToroCast. He's in the middle of a real life move, and he's gonna probably be doing some other things when he ends up finishing his move. And SWTOR Minor and May are off doing things with Tor Community, which is that's right. Tor Community is what they're working on.
Yeah, Tor Community, right.
Which is looking really cool. So he said, well, it's longest running podcast. It's sort of run its course, and that's cool. And it was sad for everyone, but we know Rode will still be around, and we'll pull him into things, and he'll be doing other things on when he gets settled over the summer. So that'll be fun.
I'm interested to see what he comes up with.
Yep. Yeah, absolutely. And I think that was about it. Yeah, that was most of what I was doing this week. And with that, I think we can jump into some news.
Now, an Imperial News Network report.
So I'll kick it off. The GRE are coming back this week. It was going to be sometime this week, and now we know for sure it's going to be starting on Tuesday. So by the time you hear this, it may already be starting. They're doing a mini patch. I did not see patch notes for exactly what they're putting into the patch. It's like 3.2b or something like that going in this week. That may be just a patch just to turn on the GRE, but the GRE will be back. And it's a recommended event. I like it. If for my sniper, for example, I needed a shelf. I needed a sniper rifle. I had some random rifle as I was leveling up. I think I just equipped the one off of Rishi, but it's sort of old school piratey theme. I got the GRE rifle for my sniper, and I really like it. It's a very cool sci-fi futuristic looking right sniper rifle. So check it
I
out.
like the Grievant. I like going inside the ship. It's that sort of, like you said, that super sci-fi look, and I like the Xeno analyst fight, the ops boss that's in there. So yeah, those are my two. I mean, I'm sort of beyond doing the dailies now because I got the rep up, I don't know, 2 years ago now. But they do make the dailies do make getting your rep, if you still need to do rep, very easy. So don't skip those. And remember, if you're going to go with an ops team to go kill Xeno analyst, you need to have a little bit of rep before you can get inside. So
Yes. And if you do, it's one of the few places in the game where you can get a legacy bound moddable offhand for all
Yes.
classes. So if you need that, then certainly take a look at the event. I collected a whole bunch of comms early on. I'll probably still just collect some more just to have on hand. So as I get to characters and want a legacy offhand, because I'm potentially going to move it back and forth between Republic and Imperial mirror classes, I've got the option to go do it. So I'd highly
Right.
recommend that. What else this week?
Well, 12x XP. The epic story boost is now in full swing. Got a little bit of a slow start, but took them a couple of hours to cycle through and turn it on everybody on Tuesday, so I hear. But the sort of sleeper news is, and we talked about this last week, is that they have an item for removing the 12x XP buff, and you can buy that from the Gree vendor. He's in the combat training section of the fleet. In fact, yeah, we were standing right next to him. I want his outfit. But yeah, and you can buy it for the low price of 0 credits. And I think it's going to be bound to Legacy starting tomorrow, right, Max?
Yes. So they wanted to make sure that people could get it on their low-level characters who can't get to the fleet. One idea they had early was to put one of these vendors on all the starting planets, and it sounds like that was too hard or too much work. So they're gonna make it legacy bound and just allow you to pass it back and forth between your low-level alts.
And they had like a super stealthy, sudden sale on collection stuff. So unfortunately, by the time you hear this, it probably will be over. But 50% off to your outfits that you have to. It's 50% off the cost of unlocking them for your account if you have any complete outfits in your collections.
Right.
But that's ending on Tuesday morning. So
Master Lou, who I chat with on Twitter on occasion, and is in the chat room right now, he let me know that over the weekend, and I hadn't heard it. I think they posted something today that said it's ending in 9 hours, but I don't know when they turned it on. I didn't see the notice, so it's there. I ended up unlocking 1 or 2 armor sets. You do have to have the complete set to unlock it for your account in out of collections. You
Right.
can't
Well, I
just
guess
have
it's
like
not as
part of
sudden
the
as I
set.
thought, because yeah, I thought it was very sudden. But if they knew, they were already talking about it on the weekend, I guess there was some advance notice.
Well, maybe I don't know if there. I didn't see any notice anywhere,
No, I didn't.
so I don't know if there was any notice. Let's see. Also, one other thing I was just going to mention, and I'll put a link in the show notes. I did see today. It was released about 3 weeks ago. A fan film that's a continuation of the story of the Knights of the Old Republic, KOTOR 2 Dark Side ending, called Broken Souls. So it's a Revan story, and it is a very cool piece of work. It's a really, really well done fan film, lightsaber battle, and Revan has to battle another Sith Lord who's big in lore. I won't.
Nihilus.
I was gonna say I won't spoil it, but Darth Nihilus.
You can edit me out.
No. Well, I mean, it's
But
it's
I
not that
don't
big.
see how
It's
that's
not
a
the whole.
spoiler because
It's only like 5 minutes.
It's in like the name of the little film.
Yeah, it is. So it really well done costumes, well done pretty good acting, nice little battles, pretty cool special effects. So I'll put the link in the show notes, and people can check that out. That's a good one. Guild news this week. Mandatory Fun Night will, of course, continue. We will be doing something on Tuesday night. I'm thinking we will do Xenoanalyst. I don't know about you.
Yeah,
That
I
sound
think
good?
we should go for it anyway. So, yeah, AIE people or anyone who wants to come along with us, make sure you have enough rep.
Yep. Yeah, absolutely. In fact, we should post that on the forums. Make sure that we've got a lot of new guildies lately, so that's another point in guild news. Tons of new members and returning members. People will need to make sure that they can get their rep going in order to be able to get in there. Is story mode Xenoanalyst bolstered? I don't remember.
I don't think so.
Maybe not. I thought it was bolstered from 55 and up. But it's
don't
not.
know.
It's not like the Rakghoul lair boss, which is bolstered from low level. But yeah, you do need to have that newcomer rep and buy the token and get on the Grey Secant to be able to fight it. Some of those new members that have posted in our forums in our introduction thread, and I gotta remind people to post in there, get more people's names in there, because there have been a ton. I keep having to kick old alts, so we're not going over the 500 characters
Yeah,
lately.
right.
But Telenroyd, who is in the chat room right now, Ophianis, Bali, or Bale, Bale, Rays, Kakaratok. I gotta read these names beforehand and get the pronunciations down. Terrible about doing that. And Master Lou, who has not posted in that thread, but as I said, has joined and it just piped up in the chat room. So welcome all of those new guildies and returning guildies. We have some officers from other game divisions I know that are coming and checking back in and hanging out, and it's been pretty fun lately. And we, of course, are streaming still on a regular basis when we do have Ops Night, not on Mother's Day. When I guess I could have been streaming me making paella for the family that night, but
I would watch that.
That would have been a different show.
Yeah.
So we stream on twitch.tv/newoverlords, usually on Tuesday, Thursday, and Sunday, and then on Monday for the podcast. So you can check it out there. Or if you just keep an eye on Twitter, do a search for #SWTOR and #AIE Guild, you'll see some of our other guildies that stream as well. And finally, big shout out to the chat room. We have quite a crowd in there tonight. I really appreciate people chiming in there, giving us other ideas, talking through some of the tips that we'll be talking about tonight. I'm sure people will be chiming in and giving us more thoughts on that. We do a little bit before and after the show too, and it's good to have feedback. So hello and thank you to Arvashet Danzok, Evil Dark Archon, Master Lou, Max the Grey, me,
Thank you, Max the Gray.
Thaden, Seema T Witch, who's somebody I know, Shadow Khan, Telenroyd, Family Boss Primo, Faden, Shingara, and that's it.
Yeah.
I keep trying to catch people as they come in and out, but I think I've got them all. And thanks again, guys. I will do a giveaway at the end, just a cartel pack, but we'll do a roll and give away something. I still haven't been able to get anything better, but that's something at least. And with that, I think we can talk a little bit about some tips for 12x XP.
If you choose the quick and easy path, as Vader did, you will become an agent of evil. Patience.
Quick and easy path, 12x XP. So we will talk all about our tips for 12x XP this week. I thought we had done a cast, and you had thought the same thing, Seema.
Yeah, I did.
Where we dove into this topic, and maybe we did in ancient history, but I went through all our 89 episodes before this one, and I did not see one titled this. So maybe we just had a little bit on the side where we were talking about it. So some of it may be repeat, but there are things that are different. So we'll go through, kick it off with talking about how to, and I think we've already talked about it a little bit, how to make sure you can shut off the 12x XP if you do not want to take the quick and easy path and turn to the dark side. But we'll also talk about stacking it with other boosts to even be quicker and easier. A little bit about companions and what each of us does with our companions to make it smooth. Gearing up and taking advantage of some of the changes they've made around gear. A little bit about how some of the travel changes that have been put into the game affect how 12x XP works. And get into some of the end game, what happens at sort of towards the end of 12x XP. So we are here on the fleet, staring at this ancient creature. And as you said, Seema, I agree that, well, we've got it. It'll be legacy bound. We can shut it off. You had a good point, though. I thought it was a good idea. They don't have it right now, but this is opt out at this point. 12x XP is on for everyone. And if you're brand new to the game and a subscriber and you get in the planet, you're going to be like level 4 after your first quest. And you might be looking at it going, what is going on?
After you take your first big breath.
Yeah, why is every quest except 3 of them per planet gray to me? So it may be confusing for new people, and I thought you had a good idea about opting out. Why don't you explain that?
Well, I was just saying it maybe do the other way around, where if you were leveling an alt, then you would already know about the item, and you could buy the item to turn on the 12x XP. And then the person who's completely new to the game and is a sub it just wouldn't be in their ken. They wouldn't even know about it, so they would just play the game as is.
Exactly. I think that's a great idea. I think that's a great note for BioWare. Opt in would probably work better, because the people that know about it and want it, yeah, they would just go and opt in. And then the people that don't know about it would get some more time, playing the game as it was meant to be played, and then get into it. And then if they figured or decided that they wanted to start going faster, they'd have that option.
And I want to say too, I just noticed this rifle you have. That is pretty awesome. You're right.
That gray rifle is
It almost
excellent.
looks like a giant syringe.
I think that's a laser coming out from the end, like a targeting laser.
Not a needle, huh?
It's not, because if I put it away, that goes away. So it's a laser that focuses down the sides of the barrel and converges. It
helps you aim, because long range sniper and all that. Okay,
Right.
Sorry to derail, but yeah, that is a cool weapon.
So stacking boosts for 12x XP, you can stack some boosts, correct?
Right, that's right.
But not all.
People
boosts.
always wonder
That's got to be clear.
whether they should store up on their rested XP, but really rested XP doesn't matter. It doesn't stack, and it's not consumed either during 12x XP. So whether or not you're rested, don't worry about it. Just play. And then the XP boosts that you can buy from the cartel market or on the GTN, if they're the major or minor experience boost, those will stack with the 12x.
Right.
But not the ones, I guess it says, the class. There's various different ones, but there's one that says class, story, experience boost. Not that one. That one won't.
Right.
But then also the guild bonus will stack. Like if your guild has the 10% XP bonus, that will stack. So 12x plus general XP boost plus guild bonus, all those will stack.
Yep. And Master Lou has made a note in the chat room. There is a bug that if you do buy something from the GRE rep vendor, there is the opportunity for that to bug out. So if something weird happens to your XP, 12x XP, turning on or turning off when you don't expect it, look that up and check out that bug. I don't have all the details, but that is something to keep an eye out for.
And you can tell because your experience bar will, if you hover over it, will tell you that it's accelerated XP or something like that. So check it out.
Yep, and it used to have a countdown too when it was on a limited time. I wonder if eventually they will have another countdown that'll start once it gets towards fall. They said this will be lasting quite a while.
Another episode where a countdown would help.
Yes. What about companions? I I tend to I do tend to focus on making sure my companions are prepared, and I know what companion I'm going to pick and use, and I usually use the same companion typically from start to finish. Often the first companion you get in the game is a relatively good match for your class. I tend to find. One of the things that I've also found at Legacy level 50, having leveled up lots of characters, is you get presents for all the characters that you get to maximum affection. You get extra presents from some of the tools in the game, like a relic that we'll talk about when we talk about gearing. That extra presence makes the companions very powerful. So I tend to make sure my companions are geared, and I'm getting all that presence bonus, and that really helps smooth out gaps in gear, gaps in ability. You can let your companions do a lot of the work at those early
Yeah, I
levels.
mean on Korriban and Dromakas or Tython and Coruscant, I mean really, your companions are little powerhouse thugs for sure.
Yeah. So tag some mobs and let your companions just tear 'em apart.
Or even just let your companion tag them.
Yeah. Yeah, that's true. You still get credit. I think that didn't work that way in the very beginning, but it certainly does now. I tend to use Treek a lot. Treek is a very good companion, but not the only companion, not the only way to go. I think especially with the 12x XP and as fast as you go and as over leveled as you tend to be as you approach the content, having a DPS companion like HK or one of your other companions for your class does tend to work well. I also, on a couple of the classes, I just like a couple of the companions for story reasons, and they're good companions, like Mako, because it's a healer for the mercenary and power tech that tends to match well. Same thing with Alara, who you get relatively early on the trooper story. I tend to like healer companions for a lot of the way I tend to play. So I will go with some of those companions. Otherwise, I do find Treek to be useful. What about you, Seema? Which companions do you tend to target?
I I tend to rely on Treek a lot, but what I found last time with 12X was I was much more likely to stick with the companion that I had just gotten from the story, to just for some variety. And they have their gear is kind of set for that level, so they're fine. And I get to, like, I've never played with Skadge, or I've never played, um, there's some like companions that I've never played with, and it's a good example, and you can work towards those achievements too, those ones where you have to kill 1,000 mobs with a particular companion out. So I think this is a good opportunity for that.
That's true. That's true. Those kill a ton of things with your companion out. There's a way to make that work for ops nights too. I never got that down exactly. How does that work?
Well, I mean, I what I would do, and this worked for me, but I don't know if you have to do all of this, but I would summon the companion, and then I would kill a few things, and then I wouldn't dismiss my companion, then I would just go into ops.
So you'd have to have everyone else zoned in so your companion doesn't get dismissed when you're standing outside?
Oh, well, or you can be far away,
Okay.
and your companion won't get dismissed. It
Oh,
doesn't have
okay.
to be, or
It can get dismissed by
yeah,
being
I
too
don't.
many people in the group.
It if you're close to the group, it will get dismissed. But like in Oricon, for instance, because that's when I was doing it, you guys could be up on the bridge, and I'd be down at the bottom of the stairs killing those mobs right there, those two strongs that are at the bottom of the stairs, and I could have my Treek out or my whatever.
Right, okay. But just make sure it's out
But
and active, and then you'll start
yeah, and
getting
just be
credit for the kills
philosophical
inside
about
there.
it. If it doesn't work, then tweak it and try a different way next ops night or whatever.
Right. What about gear? So gear, there's definitely been some changes, and they did this on purpose. They did two things in particular this time around in the most recent patch for 12 XP. They increased the number of comms that you get for completing class missions, class story missions as you go along, and they redid all of the vendors on the fleet for where you would get the comms, which used to be the planetary vendors and aren't really even planetary vendors anymore. And they reorganized those, and they decreased the cost of all the mods on all of those vendors, and they made it very well organized and a really good system for getting mods and enhancements, barrels and hilts as you level up and as you go along.
Right. So in the old system, there would be like an Alderaan vendor, and he would have like some 28 level mods and some 30 level mods and some 32 level mods, and then the one for the next planet would have some 32s, and the ones from the planet before might have some 28s. But now they've just organized them so that the vendor is just called level 25 modification vendor. And that's where the level 25 modifications are. So it's a lot simpler.
That makes a ton of
The
sense.
mods and enhancements still cost 2 accommodations, which is what they cost before. But it is better organized, and you get more. They range it so you get more basic comms as you're leveling up. So it should be a lot easier this time around to keep yourself and your companion geared up for 12X.
So the mods and enhancements still cost 2 comms, which is what they cost before, but the barrels and armorings used to be like 7 comms each.
Yeah,
So that
they used
stuff's
to
all
be
discounted.
a lot more. So that it's going to help a lot.
So there's that.
Yeah.
With each of those level vendors, there's also there's a mod vendor typically and an equipment vendor. The equipment vendors can tend to have moddable shells or customizable armor. If you do not have a customizable armor set, I would recommend getting that too. So that's first thing I do is put a legacy set on my character. Now with the outfit designer, I take whatever convenient legacy set, and often now it's one of the pilot sets that I got from being a subscriber and getting the GSF expansion. I'll take that set and I'll say, this is going to be my set now forever. And my base set, because then I can create an outfit separately that'll be my look, and I'll just have a base set that's legacy bound, so I could move it between characters if I needed to, and I'll have it forever, and I can start augmenting it or putting augment slots on it early and as I go along, and that's fine. So I'll get something legacy bound and customizable. If you're new to the game and you don't have custom gear though yet, you can for basic comms as you go along be picking up pieces from these level vendors too.
And they're very reasonably priced. They're like 8 basic comms for a piece. So that's just a little bit more than if you were buying a mod, an armoring, and an enhancement.
Yeah, basically it's only 2 comms more than buying each of the mods separately. So you're basically paying an extra 2 comms for the shell, which is useful and fair. So that's a good price. How often do you tend to level up when you're doing 12x XP on a new character?
And you mean level up the gear?
Sorry, yes. level your gear
So,
up. Level your eye level.
in my mind, I think I'm going to do it every 5 or 10 levels. But in reality, I end up doing it when I need a break from questing. I come to the fleet and start shuffling things around. So sometimes it'll go longer than that or shorter than that. But I've never really had any trouble going at least 10 levels.
Yeah, 10 sounds longer than I typically go, but I tend to level up the weapons, or keep them closer in level range.
Mm-hmm.
I'll do that every few levels, and then make sure I go and I'll often stagger the pieces and mods that I have. I think maybe just I don't know why. I think once in a while I'll have my Cybertech make some pieces, and I'll have my Cybertech make a whole bunch of armorings. So my armorings then will get all leveled up when I hit 25. But then the mods and enhancements may lag. So the mods and enhancements may be 10 levels out of range, but now my armorings are only 2 levels out of range. So the next thing I'll level up will be mods and enhancements when I do get back to the fleet and that kind of thing.
Well, I mean, one of the things I used to do is I used to load up on rage enhancements, which are endurance and power. And so I'm looking at the rage enhancement 12, which is for level 29, and it has 12 endurance and 18 power. So that power is like getting that much more of your main stat. So those rage enhancements really help a lot on your gear and make it last a lot longer. And they don't have they cap out at like level 31 or something like that. They don't have range enhancements on the higher level vendors, but they still, if you get the highest ones, they still last for a long time.
Right. Yeah, I tend to change out the enhancements least often. Absolutely. And then do also keep an eye on your collections for other shells or customizable armor pieces that you may have unlocked. Maybe you took advantage of that 50% unlock account unlock, and you can grab some pieces or make up an outfit as you go. So another thing I tend to do, and this you don't necessarily need to do to prepare your character, is I'll get an outfit set up early now on these characters. So I have this Spy Master's gear on this operative, and I got Seema made some comment a while back about how all the pants on all these male characters are just too tight. What's with all these tight pants? Why are they all wearing spandex? So I found these, I forgot what they're called. What are they called? They're like relaxed fit something. Casual. They're the casual vandal pants. And
That's right, casual.
They're still relatively fitted, but they're like a little bit wrinkled. It looks like they have a little bit of give in the fabric, and they don't look like you're wearing tights. So I do like that. That is awesome.
So I used to do that too, but that was because we had to do that. We had to find an outfit early on to get a moddable, if you didn't want to. So, but now you can stick with the look of your sort of iconic gear that you get early on in, the starter areas, which I'm excited about, and you can have your ugly pilot sets just, underneath that don't show.
Yep. And finally, with gear, there's a tip from Shingara in the chat room that you may want to check out the 43 chests in the Cartel Bazaar, because they have extra. They have upgraded mods in them that are going to get you over that last gap, and we'll talk about where those end game gaps of gear, where that sort of hits. And you really only need gear to last you to level 47. We'll explain that when we talk about end game. But I also wanted to talk about travel. So the other set of changes that they made specifically for this particular round of 12x XP were the travel changes. So this is limited to 0 cooldown on your ship travel, limited to 0 cooldown on travel to your capital planets, and quick travel points. No cooldown on quick travel. All the speeder points unlocking, quick travel points unlocking as soon as you get close to them. All of those kinds of things I find actually are a very big boost to making 12x XP useful and very smooth in the leveling process. I'm really getting a lot of advantage out of that right now. Have you gotten enough of a feel for that, Seema? I've done enough low levels now on the commando that I'm really liking it.
I love all the travel changes. And just today, I just kind of slapped myself on the forehead and said, why haven't I done this already? I bought the what's it called? The Legacy Transport to Yavin 4, even though as you leave the Ravagers, you exit out of the Ravagers, you can just speed her over to the teleport station that's in the spaceport there and teleport to Yavin 4. Now I can teleport to Yavin 4 from inside Ravagers.
Right.
Why wouldn't I want to do that?
Right.
It was 200k, but no cooldown, blah 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 blah. Yeah, so I love all the instant travel. I mean, some of the feedback that I got from friends and stuff early on in SWTOR was that it just seemed too large. All the areas seemed too large, and I never understood what that meant. But I think what they meant is it just took a long time to get everywhere.
Right.
And this addresses that very elegantly.
Right. And Tellenroyd made this comment in the chat room just now too. I would not underestimate the capital planet quick travel. So travel to your capital planet. Almost all the class stories have some need, often, more than just in the beginning when you're on that planet. You'll often need to go back to your capital planet to check in or do something or check in with headquarters, blah, 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 for the trooper class, for example, you need to go see Garza. How many billion times, I don't even know. But do not underestimate that capital planet travel. I think that's going to be it's going to be interesting and useful. And then finally,
Yeah, definitely. If you're doing a trooper, you just have to get it.
yeah, yeah. And then finally, the instant travel of either using your strongholds is very useful, and Shingara made that point. Using your strongholds, or if you don't have all the strongholds unlocked, getting a key to friend strongholds and being able to go to their Coruscant stronghold and drop out of there, or a Dromankos stronghold. You can do that too, so that's useful.
Don't forget that the Coruscant stronghold is only like 5,000 credits or something.
Right, but yeah, Dromankos and Coruscant both are very cheap, so just get them. Although if you're the wrong faction, you can still get to your other faction stronghold, but you'll have to pay some credits, a smuggling fee. So
Yeah. And if you're just starting out, you may have 5,000 credits, but you still have to be level 15. So that's still a lot of running around on Coruscant until you get it.
right. And if you think 5,000 credits is, I was talking to somebody who was coming back to the game, and they're like, "Wow, it's like 5,000, 10,000 credits to unlock this thing." I'm like, "That's nothing. That's pocket change. Spend it. That will be nothing. Soon that will mean nothing to you." So
Faden makes a good point in this chat room. One issue with priority transport might be that there are quests that they require you to use your ship to travel to Coruscant. And what I found is I could teleport to Coruscant and then look at the quest, and if it didn't advance, I just go step into my ship and step back out again.
yes.
Or yeah.
So I think they went through and they made some changes to the quest text. Keep an eye out keep an eye out for when the quest text says, "Go to your ship in the hangar," versus get on your ship and fly to whatever. Because oftentimes the hangars and the airlocks from the orbital stations are used for parts of the story. So keep an eye out for that.
Right. When that means someone's lying in wait and wants to kill you.
Yes. Yeah. Go walk slowly through the dark corridor that leads to your ship next. Just casually. Nothing's going to happen. It's fine. Just go about your business. So yeah, keep an eye out for that. If you do get on your ship, if you do quick travel your ship and it seems like the story isn't advancing, you don't know what to do next, exit your ship. Just walk out the door and you'll probably see something happening out there. End game. So it is recommended. The whole point of the 12x XP that I really like is seeing the story. Things are smoothed out. It's easier to get gear. You don't have spend a lot of time crafting or gathering materials or doing a whole bunch of stuff. Training is really quick. We'll run through some final tips at the end that hit some of those points. But if you want to even go very quick, or you've seen the story before, the tip for getting done with your class the quickest is at about level 47, I think is the earliest you can go, is to go to Makeb at level 47. This also shortcuts the need to continue to upgrade gear as soon as you get to level 47. The GSI terminals on Makeb, after you can walk up to them and use them, will bolster your gear for wherever you are up to the levels that you need to be to get Makeb done. So that's quite useful. You can get through the rest of what you need for, I think you can get all the way to level 55 from 47 on Makeb.
Mm-hmm.
So
yeah,
it's quick.
Yeah. Or you can go there at 47 and get however far you get on Makeb and then go back and finish your class story. Of course, you'll need some gear then if you haven't finished your class story already, but you can make it to 55 pretty easily.
Right. Once you hit 55, 12x XP is done. So whether or not you finish the stories or not, after you hit level 55, 12x XP is done. So you'll have to keep that in mind as well. Quick rundown of a couple final tips because we're getting close to the end here. I'll talk about a couple things I like. I definitely like Dr. Ogrub, the hollow statue for Dr. Ogrub, if you happen to have one of those from the Rise of the Hutt Cartel expansion. And I have a Revan, and I do like to have both of those on hand. I have them on my bar. Dropping Dr. Ogrub allowing you to train. You can also use, I think, The Malgus and Satil Shan stat shears to do the same thing. To train on the fly with 0 training costs now, I just hit a level, pop it down, check if I have anything to train. I like to drop it in populated areas too. I find a lot of people are out questing, and
Right.
the
Yeah.
other people can
they'll
run up
they'll
and
stop
use
and
it,
use it too. Yeah.
which is cool.
But don't do what I do and drop the Ogrub and train, and then drop the Revan, and he lands on top of Dr. Ogrub, and then you can't click on either of them.
Right. Step away.
However, but they do show up as buffs on you, so you can click Dr. Ogrub off as a buff, and then you can click on your Revan. But
And I also like to go either all dark or all light side conversation choices along the story relatively quickly, because that's one of the few places that you can get early relics. It doesn't make that big a difference, but if you do want those relics off the light and dark side vendor, that's where you'll get them, and that's one of the few places where
so
you
are
can
you
get
about
those.
like half your characters are all dark and half your characters are all
No,
light?
they're all light. And they are. I keep meaning
I know they are.
I'm gonna try to do a dark side character at some point, but I just makes me angry. It like makes me dark side in real life. Why would you do
Mine
that?
are all light too, except for a few that are just minorly gray because of a few choices that I didn't think the light side choice was very light.
Yeah, right. Exactly. The only other relic that it's certainly good to mention is if you've got the Thorn rep, which is the Rakghoul rep, the rep associated with Rakghoul, there's a level 25 relic that you can get, and then there are 3 more versions, I think 35 and level 45 versions
Right, so
of that relic.
3 total versions, yeah.
They are high presence. I think it's endurance and presence. Presence is that
Yes.
stat that makes your companions stronger and stronger. They have a bunch of presence on them. It's a great leveling relic to have on your character. What about you, Seema? What are your final tips?
I think what I would do is I still have a few as you're going through the class story part of your leveling process, which is the 1 to 47 or 48 or 50 whenever you decide to go to Makeb, and even on Makeb, you do get some experience boosts along the way as quest rewards. I would maybe hang on to those, at least some of them, to use post 55, because you'll be able to level 55 to 60 very quickly because you'll have the you'll have the Forged Alliances part, which you get the droid helper that you can go through the Forged Alliance instances, and yeah, with the XP boost will come in really handy then.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah, I think that's it. I had a note about treasure hunting, which I know you do too. Having that early is good to continue to boost your companion's affection. I do a lot of scavenging and cybertech. That's another way to fill in, but I don't think you really even need that anymore with as cheap as as plentiful as the comms are and as cheap as the mods are.
And now
don't
that the
even need to do
companion
that.
gifts are easy to find on the GTN.
That's right. So you don't even need that anymore either. So I think that's a pretty good rundown. If you all have other tips, feel free to send them in. Maybe we can tweet them back and forth between all of us and make sure we've got a complete set by the end. But it's fun to take advantage of this 12x XP while it's around. It'll be around all summer, but you get the most out of it and go the quickest by following a couple of these. And with that, I think our little EPC 90 droid here is ready for his version of 12XXP, whatever I told him it was, to get in the pod and head out and broadcast the podcast. So thanks for joining us on the download or on YouTube or on the live stream or in the chat room. Thanks, everyone. We'll stream again next Monday night on twitch.tv/newoverlords around 10:30 p.m. Central. And please follow us on Twitter at MaxTheGray and at AIESEMA. And find us on Jada Covenant and ask us for a guild invite. We would love to have you. And we will talk to you soon.
Later, everybody.